Okay. Well, we're going
Okay.
to kind of dig into the data a little bit. So Kylie's going to walk us through what that's going to look like.
Yes. So there is obviously a ton of data on Panorama. And so we're going to just look at a few snippets of some of the data in some groups. And we're going to be thinking like, where does this learning fit into our school-wide approach to SEL? What does it tell us about our current reality? And then you're going to get to do a little bit of thinking about what can we celebrate and what do we want to do moving forward from here. So will you, Ashley, show the one of the samples?
Yes.
Okay, so each room is going to be assigned a specific area to look at. So this is a PDF from Panorama that gives a pretty much of an overview of the different sections that we'll be looking at. So one of the sections, for example, is challenging feelings. And so when you go down to your challenging feelings page, there's some different things that you're going to see. So I'm just going to kind of walk you through how to read this. So the percentage, like the average, is like the percent favorable. So how many students responded favorably. And then the next thing to it is the change. And so you're going to look and see, since the last time they took this survey, what's the change? Is it a positive change? Is it a negative change? And then there's the district average on the right side. So where's CRE compared to where the district is? And then there are some questions that your group is going to look at. The green ones are like favorable responses. So once in a while or almost never, or sometimes it might be switched around, but the greens are the favorable and the oranges are mostly not. And then same thing. So by each question, it breaks down what's the favorable response, and then has it improved or has it gone down since the last survey. So after your group looks at that and kind of digs in and sees what it's telling you, you're going to come back to this page and you're going to write down, what does the data tell you? And then think, how would you categorize this response? Would it be relational? Would it be a skill building type thing issue? Or is it a responsive type issue? And then the last box is for you to share ideas that target the points of growth. So does your team do anything currently that you want to celebrate? Or how can we kind of go moving forward? So we're going to go into breakout rooms for that right now. And just to kind of let you know forward on, you're going to then be in a different breakout room later. So this is that piece that Ashley's talking about of making sure you're a collaborative member and really sharing your voice, because then later on you get to share with another group kind of what your group talked about. So is there a question? I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to clarify one thing too. There's on this PDF, like we looked at the challenging behaviors. If you scroll down, you'll get to emotion regulation and then positive feelings. But if you're in group 7, 8, or 9, it's going to look like the same thing, but it's a different PDF. This is from the second survey. And so when you pull it up, this one's from the SEL survey. And so you'll just scroll down and find the one that matches. So there's 2 different PDFs in there. Okay.
Any questions before you go?
Ashley had a question, Hernandez. How does the change work for incoming 3rd graders? Is it only based on current 4th and 5th graders that were here last year?
I just didn't understand that little orange change button when it was like down by 5. Is that just, or is it based on last year versus this year for 4th and 5th? Okay, just.
Yes. The last time we had this survey for our campus, how did it change? Did it go up or down? So it's not necessarily those same kids. It's more those, how our campus performed on those questions.
It's a great question. Okay.
Okay, let me get you into your breakout rooms.
How often do you feel loved? It could be restorative or responsive. Is that the one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is
Restorative.
it's relational in the sense that, like, if you're doing a good job of the relational piece, that this data would possibly look better. So in response, you're doing responsive work.
Right. Because I think like when I look at all those questions, each of those questions has to do with how they were treated in order to be, to feel that way. Like they would be excited because their teacher gave them something that excited them. They'd be happy because someone was kind to them. You know what I mean? Feel loved because someone put forth an effort. So we could improve relationships in order to improve that.
Yeah, because if they're feeling loved, then you obviously have a relationship with them in even the smallest capacity.
Right.
So shall I put relational? Is that what we're agreeing on? Relational? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, what specific ideas did your group have for targeting this problem identified in the data, or to sustain what we can celebrate from the data? So if it's a problem area, what can we do? And if it's something that we can sustain, how would we do so?
Set aside. Yeah. Like community time that isn't us squeezing in a morning meeting before announcements, which lasts 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's really good.
One of the things like my kids said, like I'm going to sound so evil, but like we made it a goal to basically stop unmuting because I struggle. Katie makes fun of me. I struggle with forcing them to mute because yes, that's so much easier, but then we're not teaching the skill of, something I should have learned in school, which is like, you can't just always unmute or interrupt, right? So like, but truly, like I want them to have that skill of self-control, right? So one of the things they said that they needed from us was instead of asking just at the end for questions, like having 2 check-ins each lesson, like in the middle, say, okay, let me check the chat for any questions. Does anyone have anything? And I feel the same way for this support thing, for this support question. Like Megan said, 15 minutes taken where we could give them full support and maybe timing it in a way where, okay, we have Zooms normally at this time and this time. When's the time when we can ask, like, or say, tell me what you need, even if it's like a catch up time for them.
I love that. That's so good.
Yeah, you guys are thinking like rock stars. I'm trying to think. See, I feel like we kind of started doing like it's more like broad social emotional, but like social emotional groups. I know kindergarten started theirs of just trying to make more connections and get kids comfortable with. I have several that just really don't like being on Zoom, and so it's been really hard to get them there. And so I feel like working with parents and explaining how important it is that they're there, and the more they're there, the more comfortable they'll hopefully feel. Yeah,
Goes into too our kids losing that social language because they just don't have the opportunities. So I think that's really great that you're doing those groups.
agreed. Okay. I was also thinking about parent communication. Hayden, you said something about parents with that social emotional group, but if you're reaching out to parents and talking to parents, they're going to know you care enough to contact their parents regularly.
Yeah.
Whereas if otherwise I'd just be like, well, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the families feel connected too and feel like there's a relationship there, which is hard right now, but
the audience clap, yeah.
Mary Miles, do you know if we're gonna have open house of any kind?
That was a conversation today at our admin meeting. I think no.
I love monitor and adjust.
Yeah. It goes right into that next slide for the, I changed exit ticket to just reflection.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I started responding to some ideas and I was like, I'm gonna have to stop because I will really just respond to all of them. There were a lot of good. I think so.
Okay. So I know that probably most of you have had a chance to briefly look at all the ideas that are on the sheet that we were filling out, and I feel like it's amazing and it's representative of the wonderfulness that is happening here and things that we want to dream for our kids and things that we desire, you know. So we're just going to give you, what do you think, Ashley? Couple minutes
Yeah.
to look on the sheet. We are monitoring and adjusting now. So take a couple minutes to look at the sheet and think about things that make you think, or any ideas that spark something for you, or anything that jumps out at you, and have an idea in your mind.
I told Kylie I started trying to comment on some of them, and then I was like, I'm just about to comment on every single thing, so y'all ignore my comments. I stopped.
Nicole said she's getting lots of ideas. Thanks, guys.
If someone has a question about one, like I see one that I feel like a lot of people won't know what it is, just unmute yourself and ask, what is this?
I'm so curious about what Camp Coyote is. Anybody?
I
That's
can
our-
speak to that. We
Mhm.
added that to our group.
Awesome.
So third grade, and any grade teacher, please chime in. We utilized as best we could some of the Panorama data that we received, and just realized that so many of our learners just want to play and just spend time together. That's unstructured and unique to them and their interests. So we've kind of designed for Fridays, and we'll execute it this coming Friday for the first time, different camps that they can be a part of based on their choice of interest. So we gave them like 6 choices. One of them is Chit Chat with Miss Hernandez. And
I did not approve that one. I think I said no to that one.
I'm practicing my listening skills.
yeah, it's like a fireside chit chat, and just different activities, you know, things like a building club for with Legos, or an interest in, I think we have like a DIY club, so just like crafting and hanging out together, and we'll make adjustments based on kids' feedback. And so it's just a time to 30 minutes, 20 minutes on a Friday to just play and see their friends across houses and across classes. So we'll let you guys know how it goes, but we're trying it out this Friday.
That's awesome. It's going to be so great.
I'll kind of speak on behalf of specials. We kind of looked at the Panorama data, and Carrie brought up a good point, that same thing, these kids don't just get to communicate. So we've opened up a Zoom for 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders during teen time. First about 15, 20 minutes, they can discuss, they can talk about whatever they want. And it's so sweet. They're like taking turns. We tried it out last week, and Carrie made up a really cool thing where they have like questions on a slide because of those moments where they don't know what to say. And so she did like 3 or 4 slides. And so they're able to just have some really good conversation, and they were just so excited about it. And then we still got to interact with those face-to-face and have a little fun with them too. So we were doing that for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders as far as the special sides go. So, and we're loving it.
Are you planning on going down with the other kids as well?
We thought about it. So we're still kind of in the midst of thinking it through, but I think Carrie has a good point with the questions. I think those are really great. And so I think we can bring those down definitely a little bit lower, but we've only done it like 3 times. So I think it'd be a great idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you want, whoever's sharing the form or whatever, on the bottom of that document, it says like other ideas or general ideas you want to try. If you just want to link it on this document, or you can email it, whatever, if you want to, but I just thought it would be one common place.